Alright, so now we're going to get into some programming. And each section is modular and you can skip around, but I am going to focus on one project. It's not all about the project, it's about each separate section, but I think it's easier if we use the same project as we go along. And what it is, it's a template that I created called Clean and Clear, and it's obviously uses Bootstrap. We have a couple pages here. We have the Bootstrap CSS. We have the Bootstrap JavaScript, jQuery. We'll build all this as we go along, but let's take a look at the template at the home page. So this is what it looks like. It's called Clean and Clear. We have a nav bar with a drop-down search form in the nav bar, login and register buttons that they don't actually do anything. And then we have this big jumbotron or showcase area, which has a nice high quality background image and some text. Then we have some blocks down here, and these are some of the glyphicons that we've talked about, which is just a heading, paragraph, and these read more buttons. These aren't images, these are actually coded in the CSS. Same thing with these up here. We didn't really use any images in the layout as opposed to in the content like this. So we have this main news area, this list here, and this list which has paragraphs in it, and then a footer, simple footer. So let's take a look around. If we click on About, we have this main area, and then on the sidebar we have a quick contact form and this list again. Now if we click on whichever page we're on, it's going to be highlighted in this list. Alright, so this is the Innovate page. Innovate actually shows up no matter which of these sublinks you click on. And then we have a blog which has a title and a little post area, a little author line, and then we have a main image for the blog, a little paragraph, and then some read more buttons. So these don't actually go anywhere. Obviously this is just a template, it's not meant to be an entire website. If we click on contact, we have a little map here and then a contact form. So pretty simple. I will be doing quite a bit of copying and pasting, because if we hand code this entire thing, it's going to take a long time. So we will do some copying and pasting. Alright, so what we need to do now, we're going to basically start from scratch. We're going to create a folder. Let's create a folder on the desktop, and I'll just call it new. So in here is where we want to create our index file. And I want to go over to Bootstrap and get the framework. Remember, we want version 3. So the site should look like this. Alright, so let's download Bootstrap. Download the zip and then open it up, and we should have 3 folders: CSS, fonts, and JS. I'm going to bring them right over, and let's go into the CSS folder. So there's 4 different files here, and these two, this Bootstrap/theme, these are for if you want to use some of the styles in the mini theme that comes with Bootstrap. But we're not going to use these, so we want to get rid of those. And then these two are actually the same file, except this one's minified, which means it's all bunched together, no comments, things like that. And we'll just use the regular bootstrap.css, because there's not much of a difference in terms of speed. Alright, so now if we go to the JavaScript file, these two are the same, except this one's minified. We'll just get rid of that minified one. Fonts holds all our little icons that we can use, And let's open up. I'm actually going to use NetBeans as my editor. It really doesn't matter which editor you use. Well, NetBeans is actually an IDE, but we won't be using a lot of the different functions. I basically like it. I like the formatting option, so we can format the code. So I'm going to create a new project, and this is going to be an HTML5 project from existing sources. And you only have to do this if you're using NetBeans. I want to get that new folder. That's going to be my project folder. Project name, I'll just call Eduonics. Okay. Alright, so I have my files over here, and the first thing we need to do is add our basic our foundation in our HTML file. So if we go to the Bootstrap website and we click on Getting Started, scroll down and you'll see this basic template option. I'm just going to copy this and paste that in. And there's a few things we need to do here. First, let's change the title, and this is going to be our home page. It's going to be the clean and clear template. And there's no significance to that name, it's just a name I thought of real quick. So the next thing we have here is our viewport. So this is pretty important. This is going to get the width of the device that the website's being viewed on. This initial scale is optional. You don't need that, but if you don't want people to be able to scale, then you want to put it in there. Bootstrap, let's see, this is the CSS link. If you remember, we deleted the minified version, so we're just going to make this bootstrap.css. I'm going to get rid of all these comments here. We don't really need that. Alright, so let's see. Down here it's including the JavaScript file. We want to get rid of the min. And let's see. We're using a CDN here for jQuery, but I actually want to download it and include it. And I'm actually going to move the JavaScript file to the head. Okay, so I'll just put a little comment in here. Whoop. Okay, so Bootstrap main CSS. Let's get rid of this. Hello world. Alright, so let's go and download jQuery real quick. Not jQuery mobile. And I'm just going to download the uncompressed version. And let's view source and copy all this. At this time, this is version 1.10.2. So we need to go into our JavaScript folder, create a new file, new JavaScript file, and I'm just going to call it jQuery. Paste all that in. Save that. And we want to include that before the Bootstrap JavaScript file. Alright, so we also want to have a custom CSS file, and that's where we'll put our CSS. I don't like to touch the main Bootstrap file. Some developers will actually edit the bootstrap.css, but I rather just overwrite it if we need to use some of the styles. Custom CSS, I think that's it. Let's just space these out. a bit. Alright, so we have our base template. In the next section we'll start looking at some of the components and start to program in the body.